Connection to the land and to its people is the main message of artist Duncan Smith. A Wiradjuri man, he has an intense personal interest in the education and future prospects of Indigenous children. Through his work as a mentor, performer and educator in ACT schools, he reaches out not just to Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander students, but to non-Indigenous pupils as well. His own 5 children are all part of the act, one that he hopes will change the way we view Australian culture. Kate Evans reports.
When these next generations of kids grow up and travel the world and they ask what's the culture in your country, they're not going to say a barbecue and a prawn, you know, they're going to say Aboriginal culture, Australia's culture. Wiradjuri Echoes is a dance group that comes from the teaching of my people. The kids are the dancers in it, and it's about teaching them culture, making sure they take their culture up with pride. With my children, they've been doing it since they were little babies in nappies. I did it because having 5 children, I started doing cultural stuff around Canberra myself. And then they just wanted to do it. They just was, oh, Dad, can we do it? Can we do it? So I started to teach them and started to show them, you know, and I really thought it was a good way of keeping the children, you know, respectful towards their elders. But it's also helped massively in raising them as parents. It's a nice thing to be able to spend time with your kids and do fun things and have a laugh together and you know, through painting them up and where we're getting ready to where we do the show. And it's nothing that they stress over. You know, it's just natural to them because they've done it all their lives.
Yeah, my friends are jealous. Like, we earn a lot of money over it, and we only work half a day. Like, we earn more than what they do in a week, so I'm loving it. My friends love it. Like, they love seeing me out in the community, showing my culture and that, and they're proud of it. Like, they're like, oh yeah, that's my mate dancing right there and all that.
We as Indigenous boys in our community in Wellington, near Dubbo, we used to sit with them old men, listen to their stories, and they'd get up and show us dances. There was uncles, and that was right down the back of the park, out of the way, you know. Everything was taken away from town, or, you know, it was never done up in the main street where everybody could see. It was always taken and hidden and talked about behind the thing, because, like I said, even in my time you could get into trouble for culture. Like the wedge-tail eagle, Malian, it tells a story of how he takes off and how he soars on the wind. He only needs a few flaps of his wings to get up there. Then he'll grab the different pressure of winds, you know, and he'll just spend hours up there gliding. So it's watching and learning from nature itself. If you look at kangaroo dances, you act like that kangaroo acts. You know, you sit there and watch a kangaroo, study him. So that way you learn from him. We love our NRL rugby league dance, but again, it's mimicking what you see. So it's taking something that you see on the field and bringing it in and changing it, and not changing it very much, but bringing it in and mimicking what happens on the field with the referee, with the video ref. Dances and stuff are stories of the past. They're stories told by different generations. That NRL dance is a story told by our generation, and where we are today, and what we enjoy today, and what makes us happy and makes us want to celebrate. A lot of times we'll walk into places and you'll hear a little whisper go over the room that, oh, they don't look very dark, or they don't look like Aboriginals, you know. But what happens is once they begin to dance, their spirit just shines, And I'll often say in the shows that ancestral blood runs in their veins. An old uncle told me once, "Boy, you like a cup of tea? You have a black cup of tea? It's tea. You put milk in it, it goes lighter, but it's still tea." But my favourite shows of all is preschool kids. They're my best. Out of all the big shows I do, I'd rather be sitting in a room with preschool kids.
Why is that?
Because they just make you have a lot of fun with them, and to me they're the future. So by them learning about the culture of this country, then it becomes so much more. The future just looks brighter. So by the kids learning, all kids, one day I hope that this will become Australia's culture, that all will belong to it. Racism is a really hard word for anybody to swallow, but it happens in our country. And to me, if the parents are that way, and the kid interacts with us and has that much fun, they go home with that passion that, I learned about Aboriginal culture today. Oh, we met this and we done this and we done that. A parent will change for their kids. My dream was to always own a Harley. I used to look at people, bikers riding by and see them on their Harleys and just think, how cool is that? As a teenager, I just think, how cool is that? And recently, in the last year, I finally got my Harley. So I was like, whoa! And I love my Harley. It's my, when I'm on my bike, it's my time away from everything, away from culture, away from my mob, my family. And I often refer to it as like walking through the bush, just that tranquility of even though the pipes are loud and it's rumbling underneath you, it's just that tranquility of riding along and just nothing else matters. I belong to the Vietnam Vets motorcycle club, and see, my old grandfather, he went to war in the Second World War, and I always wanted to form a link for him somehow.
He gets in cuddling me.
And they're a great bunch of blokes, They've fought for this country. They suffered the same sort of harshness when they come back, not being acknowledged and recognised for the war they fought. And to me, so it sort of give me that same sort of feel of what Indigenous people can sometimes deal with racism and things like that. So they sort of felt that. They know what that's about. And they're just really, really nice blokes. Myself and Billy Bashford, he's another Indigenous man in the Gungahlin community here in Canberra that have that passion about keeping our kids off the street, keeping them out of jail, keeping them at school is the main thing, that key to the education. We've got about 15 Indigenous boys on that program. They're a great bunch of kids, but often in life things can make them change and get angry about things, at school or whatever. So we're there as a support network.
When the principal said that Rory has been doing really, really well at school, I got a report back from Mum to say he's been doing all right at home too, so we're very, very proud of him.
We do cultural stuff with them. We do swimming. A lot of the boys didn't know how to swim, so we got them to pass their swimming course. But it's about them teaching them to be part of the community rather than being on the outside looking in.
To be an Aboriginal is just awesome, knowing that we were the first people to ever own Australia. And what's a leader? It's basically like a captain on the footy field. Like everybody looks up to and follows.
Solid Young Fellas gets me involved with the young boys around Gungahlin area and all that. Gets me, they see me out in the community as a leader as well, someone to look up to, and most of them I call them as family now, so little brothers. And I look after them out in the community and all that, so yeah, it's good.
Instead of saying when they get to 18, oh, you're not, too old to be in it now, they then step into the mentor role.
It shows them like that there's older boys there, older mentors and that to like they can look up to. Like they want to be like, they want to dance like us, they want to sing like us and all that stuff. And yeah, it's good.
Make it cool.
Yeah, we make it cool, that's what it is. But it's good, like it shows the Aboriginal boys that they don't have to be ashamed of it, that they don't have to hide.
I'd like you to make sure that while he's singing, to build his strength up, stare at him.
As you can see, none of us kids are like shameful of our culture and nothing like that. And yeah, I want to hand it on to my kids once I have kids and all that stuff, so I'll teach them.
And it'll just renew itself again with the next generation, yeah. And we nearly lost it. And that, to me, if Australia would have lost the culture, then they would have lost their soul, the spirit of this country, and that would have been the saddest mistake that we could have ever made as Australians. But my idea is, you've got to move forward. Look at the future. Look where we're going.